We are on location right now with Chris from Empower, and this is his newest project where he is buying and refurbishing the Rosario Resort. This is an opportunity to make great returns on your money while being a part of American history. You gotta check it out. So Chris, take us through some of the key things somebody should know if they're looking to invest with you here in the Rosario project.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really exciting opportunities with the project. Anytime that I look at investing, the first thing I look at is how do we cover our downside? And so looking at this project from a risk mitigation viewpoint, there's a couple of important points to note on it. The biggest being the sum of all the individual pieces is worth much more than what the price that we're paying for the property. So day one, we're walking in with equity into the project so that if in a worst case scenario, we needed to liquidate and sell pieces, we can get investors' money back and make a great return on it just by doing that. The plan is not to liquidate and piece it all out in different parts, but it's really a comforting thing knowing that opportunity and that value is baked in from day one to the project.
And that also helps you from the financing side potentially as well and the structure of the deal, is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. That makes the project a lot more financeable in a couple of different angles. The long-term project or plan with the project is to do a bigger development on it. And so if we have some parcels that have plenty of equity in them, when we go for construction financing, a bank will look at that from a favorable standpoint and help get the financing we need on the different pieces.
How about the next point that maybe somebody should think about?
Yeah, the next point that is compelling about this project is the predictable returns of it. The interesting thing, sometimes when we do development projects, we're hoping that we're gonna have the revenue streams that we're looking at based off of performance, but this property here has history, and it has a lot of history. It's been operating as a resort and nightly rental for about 60 plus years. And so it has a name, it has a history. People are aware of it and they're excited about Rosario. And so when we've looked at our numbers in analyzing this deal, we've looked at the past performance the property has brought in, and we took back 7 years. That's the amount of financials we were able to receive from the project, and look at their seasonality and what's gone on in different cycles and years, and come up with a consistent historical return and based our numbers off of that. We think that we can outperform those numbers and we'll have better returns than that, but initially when we're doing an underwrite, looking at the past there and saying we can take that going forward is a great help in making this predictable.
And what are you offering to your investors from that predictable standpoint?
So primarily it's a 8% preferred return for cash on cash paid out monthly, plus a percentage of profits and an 8% growth. And so what I see with this is a consistent, reliable 16% annualized return on the project, plus additional upside with percentage of profits from the cash flows as we get going on it.
And what would be the next key point they may think about?
Another key point that I like about this deal is the way we're structuring it is there's different phases to the project. So right now we're in the acquisition phase, and we'll acquire the property, get some operations up and going, have revenue from day one, and then work on a plan for how the redevelopment will work. And so then once we have that plan, then we'll go into phase 2. So an investor can be in this project just for the phase 1 timeframe, and I estimate that's 3 years or less. And so some investors like to see the money go in and see the money come back out, and either use it for something else or just see that it got a return, and then they can have the opportunity to reinvest. Which I think is the next point that's pretty interesting with the project, is that opportunity to reinvest. So investors that are in on the first round will have first choice at reinvesting their money in the next stage of growth, which I think will have even higher upsides from more of a development standpoint.
Got it. So there's a clear beginning and end to this initial investment, plus they have the opportunity if they choose to move on to the secondary phases, and they get kind of first chance at that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why we structured the 8% preferred return and 8% growth. And so it gives it that time frame of they know what they're gonna get at the end of that 3-year period, and we can all run our numbers off of those type of return, and give that opportunity to either move out or continue on with this next phase.
Is there anything else that they should know about it?
I think one of the most exciting things about the property is to be a part of American history. This was built in the Art Deco age. It's coming up on that golden age time frame in history, which is interesting. And the property, the mansion itself, still holds a lot of that original history from when it was built. There's a lot of the same books, a lot of the same furniture, definitely light fixtures and other stained glass, the organ, the piano. Super, super interesting to see. And we're gonna lean into the history of the property and continue to find ways to showcase that history off to people. And so for investors, they get to put their money into something that's taking this piece of history and helping to restore it long term as we work with a development plan that will help the property stay viable for the next 50 to 100 years is the mindset that we're looking at with it.
Yeah, and that's beautiful, and it's really one of the anchor pieces of this entire island. It's, you know, from the original founder or gifter of the state park here locally, and it's adjacent to it, so they'll have direct access from the resort to the park. And I would love if you also talk about the owner's benefits that somebody gets when they invest with you guys.
Yeah, I think one of the most important parts that we're trying to, or interesting parts we're trying to offer to investors is that opportunity to be a part of the project. And so one way that we're doing that is giving investors an opportunity to come stay at the property. So every year they get to come here, visit the property, walk it, see it. In addition to that, they'll be able to receive updates of what we're working on and seeing how the redevelopment process is going, and really feel like they're a part of something that's really cool.
Yeah, let alone have an amazing vacation out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.